Hello, BookTube. I have a tiny little extra mail haul for you here today. I would ordinarily have just left it, folded it into whatever comes tomorrow, but I'm waiting on a book. And I want to know if it's one of the two that I'm getting today. We have two packages and one periodical to look at. Same thing as the video earlier. So it's not like it's that small. But I'm waiting on a book, and it would help me to know that it's here. So I thought, briefly, heretically, I thought, well, why not just open the packages? There'll be more mail tomorrow. Just open the packages. But then I thought, no, we don't want to do off-camera openings of mail. That's too tempting. In Censorious, You Risk Your Life 2023, it's too tempting to do that. So I still want live openings. So we'll do that on this video. It doesn't have to be long. The periodical is this. I'm sure that this has come to a lot of you. The Chicago University Press has a book sale, a regular book sale. And this is the University of Chicago Press's catalog of their book sale. Notice the cover, catalog. And it's tons and tons of their new releases and newer releases in the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of them deep discounted, some of them at half price, quite a few of them at half price. I get this in the mail and I never quite know what to do. It seems insane to use a catalog like this and order books from it. That seems insane to me. Not only because an $11 book to me is still eye-wateringly expensive. I get them for $1 at the Brattle or free in the mail. So $11 doesn't seem like a bargain to me. But also because I've had a lot of these books. I've reviewed more University of Chicago Press books than anybody else alive today. And I've had a lot of these books. I've weighed in on a lot of them. A lot of the ones that I sort of turn down pages on in this catalog are things that I've had and I've read and I've liked and I've got rid of, and I might want them back again. And this is a way to sort of goose that process, whereas otherwise I would just have to wait for the Brattle to provide, and it might take years. So there's that. There are books in here that I would want, but how can I justify the money when I'm up to my eyeballs in books as it is? And also, I mean, I know everybody at the University of Chicago Press. I could just ask for them to send one of these things from the warehouse. That seems wrong to do, and I've never done that. I get plenty from them, so I don't want to abuse the privilege, but I don't know. I mean, book reviewer or not, I'm a reader first, and what reader isn't enticed by a book catalog? I mean, really, especially one as jam-packed as this. I may indulge myself. I've told down about 6 pages. I may indulge myself in a couple of purchases, and you'll know if I do, because I'll show them to you. But anyway, let's do the, I want to know if you got the University of Chicago Press catalog. Are you planning on ordering things from it? A lot of you, I mean, I'm perfectly willing to admit that I'm in a little bit of an advantage here, and not everybody is. So a lot of people, this is your chance to get these at the price of a lifetime. Are you going to take advantage of that? Have you set money aside? You're going to spend $60 on the catalog? But anyway, let's see what we have. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, this is from Tor. That's great. This comes out in May. This is Christopher Paolini. This is Fractal Noise. With a lot of you will, maybe if you're on social media too much, you might recognize this cover because it was part of a little flap of a controversy on Twitter about whether or not this cover was made with AI. And if so, is a gigantic name, a gigantic paycheck like Christopher Paolini, if he made this with AI, is he hurting the industry? Is he hurting all the cover artists out there who don't get this job because it was given to a machine? I don't know the ins and outs of that. I didn't follow that controversy, so I don't know if we ever actually came to a decision on whether or not this cover was generated by AI. I'll have to look that up. But this is a follow-up to Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which I liked. Big fat science fiction novel of his that I actually liked. So what have we got here? This comes out in September of 2020. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars came out, and it was a New York Times bestseller, and that was Christopher Paolini's adult debut. He did the Aragon books, right? That were YA books, and that had a lot of the hallmarks of YA. They weren't just YA; they weren't just marketed that way. They were also hysterically overwritten. They were drippy with sentiment and jagged emo crying and whatnot. And I'm always a little skeptical when an author who's made millions of dollars doing that professes to be writing their adult debut. I not only wonder whether or not they have any of the skills necessary to write an adult debut, I also wonder if they will do it. Why would they do it? They'll be losing half their audience. Why would they risk that? And usually it's been my experience that when an experienced YA novelist writes a book that they're calling their adult debut, it is YA, just with F-bombs and maybe a little explicit sex. But otherwise, it almost like the author doesn't know what YA is and what it isn't, so they think that's all the differences. But I didn't find that at all in To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Not at all. Had I not known about the Aragon books, I would have assumed that it was the author's debut. And I really liked it. I'm hoping that I still have a copy. That would be great, because I like to read it before I get to this one. This is tiny compared to that. Let's see here. This is the next standalone entry in his Fractal Verse series, and there you have it up the top there. Let's see here. Paolini is fast establishing himself as one of the leading lights of science fiction with this sprawling, intricately researched Fractal Verse novel. And in Fractal Noise, he continues to reveal his vision of a galaxy so much larger than meets the eye, and characters that explore it. Set 23 years before the events of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, it's a fantastic entry point to the Fractal Verse, but will also delight existing fans. Where To Sleep in a Sea of Stars was a love letter to the sprawling science fiction epics Paolini read growing up, and boy, did it read that way. Oh, in all the best ways, it read that way. Fractal Noise is a tense thriller about first contact, as terrifying as it is exhilarating. On the 25th of July, 2234, the crew of the Adamura discovers the anomaly, with a capital A. On the seemingly uninhabited planet Talos 7, a circular pit 50 kilometers wide, its curves not of nature, but design. Now a small team must land and journey on foot across the surface to learn who built the hole and why. But they all carry the burden of lives carved out of disparate colonies on cruel colds of space. For some, the mission is the dream of a lifetime. For others, a risk not worth taking. And for one, a desperate attempt to find meaning in an uncaring universe. And this comes out months from now, but of course I am on board, and there is a handful of you that will know why. Right? There's a handful of you that were clapping your hands inside, just like I was, at the mention of Talos 7. Some of you will know the significance of Talos 7, and you will know why I am beaming. I did not know that detail about this book. Now I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read it. And now, with that single detail alone, just the name of that planet, Talos 7, Talok, just that detail, and all the resentment that I've ever had, all the negative balance of the Bank of Steve that Christopher Paolini has ever had, is washed away. It's completely washed away. He is now my favorite author. Oh, man. The anomaly is located on Talos 7. All right, let's move on. It's all downhill from here. There's no way that this can beat that. But let's see what this next one is. This is a finished copy from Hachette. Oh, okay, great. All right, I don't have a sheet on this, but this looked really intriguing. This is by Bob Thompson, and it's called Revolutionary Roads, searching for what the war that made America independent and all the places it could have gone terribly wrong. So it's not all that great a cover for this edition, but it shares very much a tendency that has reared its ugly head again in 2023, which is endless subtitles, where where you get the title of the book and then you get basically the first chapter of the book in the subtitle. I've encountered this in hundreds of books so far in 2023. But this does sound interesting. Revolutionary history, always interesting. There'll be a bunch of that this year, but it won't be. Most of it hasn't made the list yet. Most of it won't even come out until late summer. Let's see what this one is. Revolutionary Roads takes readers on a time-traveling adventure through the crucial places American independence was won and might have been lost. You'll ride shotgun with Bob Thompson as he puts more than 20,000 miles on his car, not to mention his legs, walks history-shaping battlefields from Georgia to Quebec, and hangs out with passionate lovers of revolutionary history whose vivid storytelling and deep knowledge of their subject enrich his own. Braiding these elements together into a wonderfully entertaining whole, and with the reporter's abiding concern for getting the story straight, he has written an American Revolution book unlike any other. Okay, that's fascinating. That approach can sometimes work against the author if almost inevitably when an author is researching a book like this and it comes to writing, he will think, well, those 10 days that I spent with Billy Bob, hunting crayfish, it didn't have much to do with the American Revolution, but I'm going to spin a wonderful character study about Billy Bob and his family. It's going to be a wonderful character study, and there's not a reader in the world, this kind of book, who isn't just quickly flipping over those pages. This has to be about the American Revolution. It can't be about those passionate history wonks. They can be in it. They can be very vocal stars, but this has to be about the American Revolution. The focus has to be on that the whole time, or it fails. Books like this can fail along those lines. They can bore you with local color. The author can just overload the local color. Here's hoping that doesn't happen, but this is a finished copy, so I'm assuming that it's right around the corner, probably a February release. I'll check it out, but it doesn't matter because all I'm thinking about is fractal noise. Is it possible that the anomaly has, I don't know, a semi-sentient darkness attached to it on Talok 7? Oh, I'll find out. I'll report back. But those are our books for today, plus the University of Chicago Press catalog. How many of you got it? And are you tempted by it? I should probably make an order, shouldn't I? I mean, just to be on the team, I probably should. There are probably a couple of books in here I'm never going to see at the Prattle that I probably want, that I shouldn't have got rid of. I don't know. I'm on the fence. We'll see. But anyway, that's your second mail haul. Neither one of these is the book that I was waiting for, but this was fun anyway. And there'll be more books tomorrow. So I'll wrap this up for now. I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.